Picture this. Your offensive stalls from your bad micro. You lose your army, which snowballs, and your team loses. Being so incredibly upset, rather than reflect on your micro ineptitude, you blame your teammates instead. Your OS has dropped so much this week, you can only play in noob lobbies now, and even these are hard. You're on the outs with a girlfriend with no action lately, all because you come to bed just angry and bitter. You try and micro, true, but you are caught in an endless loop of clicking each unit one by one, like some sort of simpleton. All the while, your base starves for energy. Your mexes stay on T1 way too long. What was once your go-to strat breaks apart as it's simply incoherent madness. And here's the kicker. There's a cabal of top players who already know what I'm about to show you. They hoard it. They laugh at your ignorance. Game after game after game, they bully you. But what if I told you there are 3 micro commands that could totally change your gameplay? Commands so potent, they are kept hidden on purpose. And even if you are one of the few, you're not using them effectively. You haven't tested them like I have. And today, I'm breaking the silence. So, let's get into it. Command number 1 is the best heal micro in the game. It's one button, not a widget, not a hack. It's a complicated few lines of code you drop straight into a scripting file. Yes, it's real, and yes, I'll give you the command. After many hours searching, rewriting, and testing, I believe I have the best heal micro solution in the game. So while searching for something related, I found this gem. As Pikachu says on Reddit, the fact it's so powerful yet so buried means that only advanced players can use them, while new players haven't even heard of it. And that is RogueL1ke's select filters. As we can see here, these are the 2 commands I use. I assign these to what are free commands on the keyboard at the moment, and that is the slash and the full stop next to each other. Look into the description and I'll provide this code in a text file. How you generate this RogueL1keys.txt in your data file in your Beyond All Reason directory is you simply select custom layout in the Beyond All Reason menu instead of grid or legacy layout, and it will generate. See here, loaded hotkeys from RogueL1keys.txt. Go to your data folder. This is the path to my data folder in program files, and it's simply down here. I put this code as 2 new lines of code down the bottom of the folder. You might elect to do something different, but this is tested and at the time of this video will work very well. Now I refer to that Reddit post as that is the source for this code, but I have actually modified it a little bit to not just have 1 but 2 buttons. So one button is going to select all units below 66% health, and another button is going to select all units above 66% health on the screen or thereabouts. So you might want to remap to your mouse. I had to put it in the global settings, the Beyond All Reason settings didn't work. The dot and the slash to these 2 mouse buttons if we want to quickly and easily select the injured units and the full health units. So what this looks like is, simply put, we want to select all units that need healing. There we go, it's automatic. We want to select all units that are healthy. That's automatic. This custom selection filter is extremely useful for your heal micro. I'm going to demonstrate how powerful this is. We're in the rainbow position, up against Cryptic Aura mainly. But unfortunately, Cryptic Aura is carrying someone who's not experienced at bar. Very standard opening we see here. We've been able to get our laser turrets right next to our 3.2 mechs. I'm pretty happy about that. And we're starting to ping away with our Whistler. The 2 Whistler to 1 Yanis combination being very powerful straight out of the gates and quite painful to deal with. But we see Cryptic Aura here, a very good player by the way, respond with 2 Whistlers quite early as well. But unfortunately, Cryptic Aura has too much to do, and I've been able to sneak down and degun that laser turret. So we've got some very early pressure. Got off our Yanis shot, and we can see here an agitator. This is the original plan, but that agitator is now a little bit exposed as there's no light laser turret. Simply the commander here and the 3 whistlers to try and defend against this. Cryptic Aura better be careful as the commander's now under 50% health. And at this time we're starting to take casualties or very close to it. There we go, our first casualty here. But we really want to see this agitator go down, or at least to nail the commander. So we've been a little bit aggressive. We're not worrying too much about heal micro at this point because of the critical nature of the early game. Now we've taken down that agitator, we've paid with 1 Yanis. We're putting down the 1 repairer or construction turret here, which is going to heal up our commander nicely. I do advise on the front line putting down maybe 3 construction turrets for vehicles to make sure they repair up very quickly, but at least 2. Now, Cryptic Aura has been able to establish a Warden or Area Control Laser Tower, and this is going to wear on us every time we push forward now. The DPS is actually quite low at about 100 DPS, which is not much more than a Whistler at max range. So never be too scared to venture into a Warden's area, but you probably want your repair micro working pretty well. And we can see now we're starting to get a little bit worn upon. So we separate out our whistlers and we move down with the remaining force in formation. So the whistler's not at the front. Oh, here we go. We're separating now. Look, it's getting pushed into the into the target area, but manages to get out of there in the end. And we've managed to save that unit for now rather than leading the charge. And again, we've got a bunch of wounded units here. I'm forgetting to separate them out at the moment, and we can see that we paid right away with the casualty, so we would have been much better separating out. Even the Yanis, which we would have thought safely tucked away, somehow got sniped. And there we can see they all got selected out to be repaired, while the healthy ones moved down. And although we're likely going to get a casualty anyway, it's only a single casualty and we inflicted a whole heap of damage. Even our Yanis here got away, so that was a pretty good trade. And the whole idea is to attack with waves. So with waves of full health units, the injured ones we put back to base, where the construction turrets are for some automated healing, or our commander on repair can assist as well. So far taking down the Warden has eluded us, but we've pretty much worked on the whole army here, and we can just attack wave after wave. We don't need to rest and repair for too long, as we can simply split out the enemy units. As we move RogueLike down on the right here, for the final offensive, the commander, and we've just overwhelmed before this agitator's able to get built. Oh, it's gotten built just there, so we degun it quickly, and we've won the front. We see the resign go up. Yeah, back at base, we've built the 3 construction turrets in the end, and we've been able to have 170% or so damage efficiency and totally win the front, reclaim all metal. Now keep in mind, Cryptic Aura here wasn't well supported, and you're not necessarily able to break through that easily all the time. So if you have a strong amount of vehicles compared to the enemy forces, you can generally advance forward into their lines, maybe take 1 or 2 casualties, withdraw back, take the injured units out, and advance in with all full health units immediately after. And that tempo will really wear down your enemy, where they have critical infrastructure that's getting destroyed, like construction turrets. Their commander is getting low on hit points, and they just cannot get back. And you totally skew with their strategy. So especially in T1, in earlier stage of the game, where you need efficiency on the front line, repair micro is absolutely critical. As we see here, we've been able to advance forward, take down mexes. Cryptic Aura is just running away on 27 hit points, gets taken down, predictably so. And yeah, we've had an outsized effect, being able to basically destroy all mexes around here. We've even brought our commander down to reclaim this commander corpse here. Instead of that, we've degunned it actually, because we're a little bit outnumbered. Always a good idea to take that metal off the board. Some excellent micro here by Cryptic Aura. Barely able to get away. Managed to take our commander down to about 500 hit points. It was an unbelievably good job actually. So even tanks are very dangerous when well microed against the commander. Number 2, a single menu setting that transforms your right mouse click. Suddenly you're targeting enemies while moving normally. It's FPS God micro with the flick of a button. I know this existed thanks to my astute viewer base, but the actual command is extremely obscure. It doesn't matter if we're at basic or advanced in the menu, it's just going to be at a different spot. But it's actually this setting here, which is set target as default. This replaces the default attack command to a set target command. So what this essentially means is rather than us directly walking to and attacking a target, which is default A, we can in fact set a target and still move around and stay outside the range, or just move into the range and skirmish, and that will be the priority target as soon as we get into the range. Now for the second part of the game here, we've got Mousers, we've got ticks, and we've got our pre-existing T1 army, but we're up against a fat boy here. And we've right-clicked on the fat boy, so it's the set target, but see we've slightly misclicked just to the south of the fat boy here. That is the danger of this. And we've actually moved, before I've realised, right into the fat boy's nose, so an absolute disaster. So just be sure when you click you actually hit the unit. That will require some practice, as we've ourselves only started using this set target command, and I'm not entirely sure how to do it. Maybe sometimes safer when range is critical is to just attack ground anyway in the early game and go to that level of micro, particularly with longer range vulnerable units. And heftier units, you can use right click with them, like bulls for example, which need to move around and dodge some fire as well as shoot at the same time. See, as we move down there, we're actually able to shoot to the right, as we could continue to move and theoretically strafe this fat boy. Unfortunately, we've had cryptic auras, well micro tanks. We have sniped it in the end, but the tanks have managed to finish off our artillery. So that was a good example of that set target command actually being used, with our normal right click would be forced to stop and fire at that fat boy without moving at all. We can see here, right click onto the commander and be able to stand off the commander's D-gun. And we can see that set target, although the commander has gotten away this time, as we're having to support against cryptic aura's very effective tank micro. Who thought brutes could be so effective? But there you go, taking down this banisher easily. And look at the bulls here, fantastic at sitting off, for example, welders, and being able to enact many casualties. Uh-oh, we've got a problem, which are snipers. So we're sending down ticks against them, and it's the really good counter to our current army composition here. The snipers have a range of 900, and the Mousers only have a range of 820. As the snipers move up, we're in trouble, starting to attack our bulls, and so we move down with our set command while microing, ready to flee at the next tank push, and we do that. We managed to pop off 3 shots, and then we can withdraw. And we managed to actually take out a sniper then and save some of our forces. It was much more effective than us just simply sitting there and getting wiped out by the welders. At the moment, despite the difficulty we're having, we're still getting 200% or thereabouts damage efficiency, despite having this very troublesome army composition against us. I believe these are text snipers as well, so it's like an additional player we're suddenly facing. We move down once again, we're a little bit outnumbered at this point, and we've been able to continue to advance while our set target's working. And we've managed to take down a couple of snipers there. So rather than our artillery shooting at something else, we've been able to focus in on the snipers as we've been able to move at the same time. So we did manage to land a few good shots, but we were a little bit outnumbered. We needed a few more bulls and Mousers to close that off. Batamaran also now has snipers, seeing how effective they are, and is pairing them with a radar bot and a jammer bot. In fact, we see 11 snipers, quite a fair number. Now, if we had visibility, we would be able to use this rattlesnake to snipe off the snipers, simply by attacking ground or setting them as target. And one way we could easily get visibility, of course, is pawns, but they are down here at the moment. Another way, which is a more surefire way, is to actually use air scouts. And at 23 minutes in, quite often I actually do use air scouts, just so we can't get this sneaky force up against us. What a tasty target this is at the moment, all clumped up. Also, it needn't be Persecutor that we need to build, it could also be an Ambassador, for example, that would be able to one-shot kill these at a very long range. The ticks here discovering our forward positions and able to snipe all that off, protected by the jammers. While we're too busy down here, Batter Marin has been able to make a very effective attack against us. So one thing you might want to do if you have got a player that has developed a lot of pork is we can see Red here putting down a lot of LRPCs on the front line. And look at their incredible range here being on the front here. Being able to target all the way out to this region here and deep strike into the enemy base. So there's a definite advantage to bringing the fight to the enemy and then managing to pork up effectively. A game-winning advantage, and that is the LRPC. And no matter what the enemy team here does with Vanguards, LRPCs are a perfect counter to that. We can see here anyway, Pawns do a fantastic job themselves of intercepting the Vanguards here. The Razor's trying very hard to protect this one single Vanguard. We're very aware it's there, however, and we're able to take it down with one Razor. Something a little bit funny here, the Pawns were targeted right onto the hill there. We can see this conspiracy of Pawns trying to reach the top of the hill, not having a great time of it. Finally, they break free and able to, no doubt, end the enemy here. We see the Resign go up, a massive grouping of Pawns, and we're moving down also with Jaguars, seeing an opportunity to break through on the front line. The Pawns coming after Jin Shimin. But unfortunately, there's a Razor. The Razor actually goes down. We're able to back it up with a Starlight. Our team was in the right place. We see the Pawns actually take down that commander. So that was pretty cool. In the meantime, we've been able to get our Jaguars through and end Rainbow and start to move towards there very fast. The team that resign. Number 3, an easy method to create an elite counter sniper unit. No wasted shots, no frustration. A precision tool against spam, and you'll never see sniping at range the same way again. No, you didn't build Vanguards just to shoot at Pawns. They are now actually useful. For Uber command number 3, that is to turn on hold fire on your long range units. Go over to the unit we want to target. Press A on the keyboard and left click drag. And we can now only hit these units that we actually want to hit. Now, look at them all expand there. That may have been us, I'm not too sure. But essentially, this is very powerful against targeting sniper units in particular. Although I'm showing rattlesnakes here, it will actually force your snipers to move towards that position and take them out automatically. The idea being they're there to go forward for a mission, to attack and perform their counter sniper duties, and then to retreat. So we have these troublesome ambassador units which automatically fire at whatever unit is attacking against us and estimating their paths. We can see there's some friendly fire from our ambassador there. So very much not desired. So let's turn that off. That fire at will and hold fire. They're a specialist unit. They're not a generalist unit. We only want to produce small groups of them at once for this very mission, which is counter sniper. Let's shift A on these. And despite being not firing at all, or let's turn that off again, hold fire on the 7 of these. Despite holding fire, able to actually shoot at these units. Here we go. We see some closer ones. So let's send our Jaguars over there to deal with that. Then we're going to get these babies again. We're going to click on them and we're going to fire up at these guys. So let's go on a bit of a hunter-killer mission. While our Jaguars get rid of the short-term threats. Okay, and rather than shooting at everything under the sun, we're going to exactly just shoot at these enemy units now. A devastating barrage here. Just simply going to drag A. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to overthink it. Now apparently you can do Alt, you can do Shift. I don't know if there's any difference, guys. Let me know if there is. As we can see, all those rockets congregate actually on one target at a time. So that's the only issue with A drag. is a lot of those rockets are wasted. If we simply wanted to attack in a distributed fashion here, we'd A right click, and we can see there we've each got a rocket going to a different spot here. Now see a nice barrage. Yeah, in a line. So A right click is great for manually dragging that across, and A left drag is good for just selecting a group of units. If we want to type all of the same ones, we do Alt set target, Alt right click in this case, with our current settings. And we can see then the ambassadors will keep on firing as long as we see these grunts. As soon as they all go out of range, we're not going to continue to fire. And that way we should never have to stop with the, oh look, it took them all down. So I predicted their path nicely. So we should never have to switch off hold fire with all the micro commands. As long as we're a little bit cognizant of our ambassadors on the front line. We're able to get some vision, that's very important for set target also. Let's move forward with the Jaguars. Alt onto those guys. Oh, wrong target, Alt that. We've got 2 of those targets now we can fire at with the ambassadors. Very devastating. Let's move back a little bit. Get a little bit close. Look at that, being able to snipe it. Both of those poison arrows are brought down now, and we see a Tsar. So we're going to go back a little bit more. Are we able to get vision on that Tsar? Maybe not. But there we go, get vision on it. Alt right click. Now right click is set target. Hopefully we can estimate where that Tsar is going to end up. They're very good at the computer at sort of moving it around randomly. Better than a human player quite often. So we mightn't be able to hit it, particularly now it seems to be going out of range. That's okay, we've got its friend here. The friend is even running away. Look at these cowardly Tsars. In conclusion, the 3 Uber micro commands are the select button for all wounded units and all high health units. Alternately, enables you to position your low health units at the back of the formation or send them back to base for healing. So that's really important. So that increases your efficiency by quite a margin, particularly in the early game, which is actually critical. It might be worth it to change up your unit mix to take advantage of more high health units. Apparently there is a meta at the moment for people using Centurions. They're very good paired with Fat Boys, for example. So if you can keep your Centurions alive, an expensive unit, that's going to be a very efficient play for you. The second OP command is to simply switch the right click button. So instead of being attack, it is set target, and tend to use set target more. Set target also is very powerful when paired with Alt, because we can select targets all of the same kind. For example, if we're up against a sniper unit, can be very useful for that. The third Uber command is to set all your low rate of fire units. These units are ambassadors, arbiters, snipers, vanguards, such units like that. Change the fire at will. The default button is L. to hold fire. And then use a couple of different micros. Either right click can be fine. Alt right again to select all units of the same type that we might want to fire against. Press A, then drag left click it to just shoot at all units one after the other in the circle which we designate. But the best hack for creating an effective counter sniper unit is to attack ground. And if we're using rockets in particular, is to be familiar with the A right click command, so we can hit an area all at once and ensure a devastating strike. The reason that third command is so uber, if you haven't worked it out already, is rather than your snipers or such getting discombobulated by tick swarms, cannot worry about that at all. Leave that to your welders and can save the higher energy cost shots for only the units with which you designate. And the key to this third command working to your satisfaction is to get line of sight visibility on the units so you can make your selections precisely. And I do recommend for that you build an air lab and have consistent scouts over the area. That's the best single way of doing it, because sometimes if the enemy swarms you with spam, what they're actually denying you with is line of sight. That's the most important thing they're denying you, because your counter spam possibly can't ever match theirs completely, and that's what the play is. So if you can build spam killer units and you can have line of sight through a plane, you very effectively at low cost counter that complete play and possibly win the game through just doing that, while still being able to reach out and annihilate whatever pesky artillery units and such that they have. In actual fact, you could simply march through their pawn swarms and end up in their base and from afar take down their whole base. There's nothing they can do if they elect to go pawn or grunt only. I hope this was really useful for you. If it was, please leave a comment, like, or subscribe. Would love to hear from you anyway, and let me know what you think of the video. Thanks very much, guys. See you next video.